So in this chapter we begin hearing what happened after Jarasandha was killed. These kings who were subdued by him and imprisoned with a specific goal, because usually in the battles, the Kshatriyas, you go for the battle either to win or to die. So that was their mood. You either kill your enemy or be killed. But he kept them alive, he didn't kill them. Why? Do you remember? Why he was imprisoning so many? 20,000 to 20,800. We can guess why exactly. Why not 20,000? But 20,800, maybe he had some number in mind. Do you remember why he kept them alive? He had a purpose. Okay, why Narakasura kept in prison 16,100 virgins? He wanted to marry them, but not one by one. Obviously, he was collecting them until he reached that number, so he wanted to marry all of them. But time was not in favor of him. He wanted to imitate Krishna and show, yes, I'm so big, so great, I have 16,100 wives. But it didn't work for him. He died before he married them, so Krishna freed them. But in this case also Krishna freed the princes or kings. And they were kept by Jarasandha. He had in mind a great sacrifice for Lord Shiva, Mahakala. He wanted to do a Purusha Veda sacrifice with a lot of humans. You could imagine 20,800 offered in sacrifice. So he thought, with this I'll become the ruler of the universe, I'll be so powerful. But again, his calculations were wrong. That's how usually the demons end. Krishna arranges that they are killed. He comes, like he says in the Gita, that he comes to protect the devotees and annihilate the demons. But Acharyas and Srila Prabhupada explain that Krishna doesn't need to come to kill demons. He mainly comes to protect devotees and give happiness to his devotees. Prabhupada says Krishna has his agents to kill the demons. He specifically, Prabhupada says, he has his external potency personified. She has various forms, and some of her forms are very fierce, very frightening, and she kills demons. That's in the form of Kali or Chandika, like that. So that's fierce form actually is worshipped by warriors. And actually Krishna in one of the versions of Mahabharata from South India, just before he speaks Bhagavad Gita, when that chapter starts, Krishna tells Arjuna, now we have to pray to Durga. So he gets down from the chariot and offers wonderful prayers, addressing her as the daughter of Yashoda. Yeah, because she was born and transferred there by Vasudeva, and then Kamsa tried to kill her, but then she came as Durga with 8 heads and was laughing. You fool! You cannot kill me. But because Kamsa was actually worshipping her also, he thought, oh, she's so merciful. She told me, she actually helped me and told me, oh, your enemy is born somewhere else. He didn't get the message. You will be killed by my master. So they worship this fierce form. But ultimately they are killed. And she appears in different Puranas, many stories about big demons, they were killed. And when nobody else can kill them, for example, there's this story in Vamana Purana that there was such a great demon who was called Mahishasura, a famous demon. So he created such big disturbance, and demigods went to pray to Vishnu And at that time he was sitting together with Lord Shiva, and they were having a nice conversation, and the demigods came and tell them this story of a great demon causing disturbance, and they became so angry, Vishnu and Shiva. So from their anger, a personification appeared, and as a daughter of one sage named Katyayana. So it's Katyayani, a form of Durga, which who worshipped that form? Katyayani? The gopis, yes. How did they worship? Do you remember?
Fasting, from eating khichdi.
They were eating khichdi. Yeah, they did for 1 month, just after Kartik. There is the month which Katyayani Vrata. So it's the winter begins at that time. So it's very cold. So the fasting is one thing. Once a day, eating very simple, one preparation of moong dal and rice with no spices.
It's still being observed in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
A husband.
Yeah, so that's a tradition. You worship Katyayani to get good husband. So, but that's not the only thing that they fasted. They went early in the morning before sunrise and took bath in the Yamuna. Very cold. So they were taking bath, very determined. And they had made a deity out of the Yamuna, playing the sun. And they worshipped her. They were bringing different kinds of paraphernalia with flowers, gold, incense, and sindoor, and fruits, different things. And they prayed with one wonderful prayer. Oh, Mahayogini, oh great Yogini, please fulfill us this desire. Nanda Gopa Sutam Devim Patime Kurupena. Please make him our husband, Pati. So they got the blessing. Of course, and Prabhupada explains in Krishna books. He says, usually materialists worship the form of the material energy, Durga, Katyayani, or Kali, with material purpose. But here, the gopis, they worship also Katyayani to get Krishna. And he says, sometimes materialists say, yeah, the gopis also worship Katyayani, so we can worship, but we should see their purpose. And he says, if Krishna is the center of all activities, and if your purpose is to please Krishna, the devotee can adopt any means. And he says, the gopis can adopt any means to please Krishna, including, doing this puja and austerities, because they were just innocent girls. They heard that's how they can get Krishna. Also, Srimati Radharani is described. She saw her father, Bhanu, Bhanu. Bhanu means the sun, so Bhanu. So he was worshipping the sun. That was the family deity. So she saw him. Oh, my father is worshipping the sun to, get the benediction. So let me also worship the sun to get Krishna. So she was doing regularly worship of the sun. There is still one very old deity of Surya in Vraja, which there are many stories how Srimati Radharani was going every day to worship the sun, deity of the sun, and even when after she was married to Abhimanyu, and her mother-in-law was very happy. Oh, my daughter is going to worship the sun and to get prosperity for our family, like that. So, but apparently in the house of Srimati Radharani in Yavat, Abhimanyu was worshipping another deity. Do you know which deity he was worshipping? Can you guess?
Ganesh.
No. He was also worshipping Durga. A special form of Durga, Kali, this frightening form. So one time, there is actually in that place in Yavat, there is one small temple with deity, a special deity. Actually, it's a Krishna deity, and it's related to a story how once Srimati Radharani was in a forest nearby, and somehow her sister-in-law, she understood, oh, Radharani is meeting with Krishna. So Kutila ran to Abhimanyu and said, now you can catch the rascal. He's very nearby. So Abhimanyu was very angry, running. Abhimanyu means great anger, actually, the name. So he was very angry, going, now I will see them. And just when he was approaching, Radharani was sitting in front of Krishna, and she saw that Krishna looked suddenly like that, and she thought, oh, somebody is coming. So she turned and saw Abhimanyu, and she was really frightened. But then suddenly Abhimanyu made a full dandavat and threw himself and was offering prayers, and Radharani was very surprised what happened. So she turned and she saw Krishna assume the form of Kali, because he has the same color. Kali means also dark. And this is the verse explained here, that the kings, they saw Krishna's Shyama. Shyama Buddha actually means the color of a cloud, a blue cloud. So Kali also means dark or bluish. So Abhimanyu thought, oh, my wife is so chaste. She came in the forest, and because of her devotion, Kali personally came to take her devotion and her worship, our family deity. Oh, she's so wonderful. And since then, there is this deity of Kali Krishna, very beautiful Krishna, in the form of Kali. So this, there are many other stories, because this of how Krishna doesn't kill personally demons unless he has to protect devotees. Like in Vraja, demons come to kill the devotees many times with their mind. I will kill all the family, like last night in Krishna book. We had, who was that? Bakasura or Banas? No, Bakasura. Bakasura came and he had this in mind, I will kill all the family of Krishna. And when all the families are dead, the family members are dead, all the children are dead, everybody else will be dead. So that's the plan of the Asuras. They want to kill devotees, and Krishna cannot tolerate. So he kills to protect, and he appears like in the form of the Simhadev and many other forms, specifically to protect devotees. But if there's some general disturbance, then his material energy takes care. So she kills. Like Katyayani, she actually appeared as the son of this sage, and then she came on the battle with this Mahishasura. But in her form, she's not so frightened. She's actually very attractive and beautiful. So this demon, that's another thing. She either scares them or she bewilders them. So the demons see her and she's so beautiful, and Mahishasura said, "Oh, you came for a battle? Can you become my wife? Why do we need to battle?" She said, "All right, no problem." But in our family we have a tradition that the bride should win the bridegroom should win the bride by having a fight. So if you conquer me in fight, I can become your wife. And Mahishasura thought, oh, that's very easy, of course, I can defeat a girl. So he took a shape of a Mahisha. Mahisha means a bull. And was fighting, but then she jumped over him and then was kicking him with her feet, and then he just vomited blood, and ultimately she chopped off his head. So his plans to marry her again failed. And many other in Brahmanda Purana, also a very famous story that's in Lalita Sahasranama. It's described how, again, the internal energy, the external energy of Durga appeared again with some big demon. What was his name? Bandasura, something like that. Who was very also, Bhandi, something. Bandasura. So he was so great, again, nobody could defeat him, and the demigods prayed. So she appeared as the Rita Tripura Sundari and went for a battle. It was a great battle, and Bhagavatam also describes in the 8th canto with the battle of the demigods. You see demigods, but among them is also form of Durga or her expansion as the matrikas, they also fight with the demons. And even, Lolita, she had a daughter, another expansion, called Bala, 9-year-old girl. And she said, Mother, I heard that there will be a battle, can I come? You're a small girl, how can you fight with the demons? No, but I actually feel like I need to play with dolls, So my point is, the sister of Krishna, the external potency, is very eager to kill demons. So she came, She came, the small girl came and killed all the brothers of this great demon, Bhandasura. And so this is the Krishna's sister. She fights with the demons. We don't see his consort Lakshmi and the gopis. They don't fight, right? They have other mood. Of course, they sometimes have a mock fight, but with Krishna, just like another story in Bhakti Ratnakara is described. In one place, under a Bandira tree, Bandirban, when Krishna and Radharani were walking with the gopis, and Krishna said, so what do you do here with your friends? And Krishna said, I just play here. And how do you play with your friends in this place? Krishna said, well, we all dress like wrestlers. So wrestlers have a special dress. We dress like wrestlers and we fight. And nobody knows wrestling like me. And I win very easily. So Krishna was like, very proud. I always win. And then Lalita smilingly said to Krishna, oh, can you show us? We're not really sure that you're always winning. So what happened, that the gopis all dressed like wrestlers also. So they challenged Krishna. So we had to fight with them on this wrestling arena. It's not mentioned who won. It's just the story ends like that. So we can only guess. So yes, Krishna comes to protect devotees, and demons are killed when there is need by his agents. And mainly he comes to attract devotees and please them. So here we see, he appears in his Chaturviha, because the kings, they have this mood. So he displays this form, shows them this form, and then they are so attracted. The description is really fascinating, like they were drinking his beauty and licking his form with their tongues, literally. And Jiva Goswami makes this comment that actually their mouths were open by fascination with his beauty, and so all the senses were engaged, only the ears not yet, because they didn't hear him yet speak. They just saw him, so they're drinking his form, and then by praising him with their words, they were actually licking him in that way, by using their tongues to glorify his form. So that's another way to see that. And they were relishing his fragrance with their nostrils and with their arms. They were like embracing him. So Krishna's form is very attractive, and that's why it's given in many places in Srimad Bhagavatam. The details, there's so much details. It's not just saying, oh, he's a very wonderful person, but very great details, minute details, like here, in so many places. Why? So that we can paint this picture in our mind, create a deity, and meditate on Krishna. And this is so essential in the process of bhakti, to remember Krishna in his beautiful form. So, in how many places Krishna's form is described in Bhagavatam? Many. Can we just remember some? Starting, let's remember in each canto. First canto. Narada Muni, yes. The story where he and then he saw Krishna. Okay. Yes. Well then, Bhishmadev. Yes, especially Vishmadev, when he was meditating, leaving his body, he describes also Chaturvika of
Parikshit.
Chaturvika.
At his birth, actually, he appeared as Vishnu, and then he became like little Krishna.
That's 10 canto.
Skipping.
We are going one by
Oh,
one. So first canto, first canto, we remembered a few. Vishnu, what about Parikshit?
Yes.
Also, he also saw him, like in angry form, defeating the Brahmastra. What other?
Return to.
Kunti Devi describes also, seeing him, and she describes a little bit the form. Saying the lotus navel, lotus face, lotus eyes.
Returning to Dwarka also, no?
Yes, in the temple to Dwarka, and then the residents, they were seeing his beauty and being extremely happy after a long time to see him. So many places. Then second canto, Lord Brahma's direct darshan, and before that, how the second canto starts with the answer of Jukadeva Goswami to Parikshit, and he actually starts to describing how you have to, what you have to do at the end of life. Yes, and then he says you have to meditate on the Supreme, right? But first, what type of meditation he describes?
Universal.
Yeah, the Virat. That's how you can start. Even if you're a complete materialist and you don't actually believe that the transcendence, the absolute truth has form. So at least you accept it. The whole universe, creation, is the form of the Supreme. But then he goes to personal meditation, how the yogis should meditate within the heart. So there is a very detailed description there. And so this is one place. Then Lord Brahma sees him, Krishna appears, and also very detailed description, second canto. In third canto, it's fourth canto. In the fourth canto there are descriptions also, but in third one is also related to meditation. Which chapter? Yes. Dhruva Maharaj saw him. That's also there. That's another description, detail. But before that, or actually, no, it's after that. After that, when there's a instruction how you should meditate on Krishna. By who gives instructions on yoga and bhakti yoga, especially, and Sankhya? No. So many chapters. Who speaks on Sankhya?
Vidura.
Kapila. Yes, Kapila. So in one of the chapters, then he gives the process of yoga, and it starts with controlling the senses, yama niyama, then doing asanas, pranayama, and meditation. When he comes to dhyana, he describes the form of the Lord. And there we find again a similar description and the color of the body of Krishna. So here it's compared to blue cloud, but there it's compared to Atasi Kusumam Vigasam Mahasa. Oh, it's another verse. No, in the Bhagavatam this is Uru Suparna Bhujayor Adi Shobhamanav Ojo Niti Atasika Kusuma Vabhaso. So the devotee should meditate on Krishna's form, and different parts of the form. You start with the lotus feet, and when he comes to the thighs, Uru, they are so beautiful and attractive, and they are the Oja Nidhi. They are the place or the source of all power, and they are Atasika Kusuma. They have the luster of Atasika Kusuma. Kusuma is flower. Atasi, you know what kind of flower is that? No. That's the flower which is mentioned many places in Shastra, which is compared to the... So usually Krishna is compared to two flowers. Krishna's called either Atasi or Nila, Nilambuja, or of a blue lotus. And so, and then the blue cloud, and what else? Shyama. Yes, or the tamala tree, like that, different types of, so that we can imagine. But adasi means flax seed, flax flower, lin. Have you seen this? No, lin. Flax, you know what is flax? Flax seeds. Flax seeds, healthy food, whatever, omega-9. Yes, so many years ago, when I was living here, and I was cultivating a garden in the land of the college, I planted linseeds just to see how Krishna's color is. So I waited for a few months. I just threw some, took it from the kitchen. They must be raw. You throw them, and they're quite quick actually. In a few months they come. I guess early in the spring you have to water, and then it comes. It's that big. That's a perennial flower. A very gentle and delicate beauty. Beautiful flower with a light bluish color. So that's the flower.
It's still there?
No. A perennial means 2 years and they last. So you have to plant them again. So Atasi. Then this was from third canto. And in another verse then it's mentioned it's Shyama or Nito Pala. It's like the blue lotus, and Prabhupada in the purport says the color of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described here as Nitot Pala Pala, meaning that it is like that of a lotus flower with petals tinted with blue and white. People always ask why Krishna is blue. This is the 13th verse of 28th chapter, 3rd canto. The color of the Lord has not been imagined by an artist. It is described in authoritative scripture. In Brahma Samhita also, the color of Krishna's body is compared to that of a bluish cloud. And in the 2nd canto, when there is the description of the Vaikuntha planets and residents, and all residents who have same features as Krishna, Vishnu, they are described as Shyama Avarata Shatapatra Lochana. Shatapatra means another name of lotus. Lochana, the eyes are like lotus petals, and their bodies are Shyama, they are emitting this luster like Shyama. And Prabhupada translates, having a glowing sky bluish complexion. So this is another. Once the Prabhupada says, you know what, the sky is blue? Because that's the color of Krishna. So yes, this color is very attractive. Also these are of course comparisons which it's just to form in our minds some conception that this is a very beautiful, attractive form. And then by meditating and purifying our heart, eventually Krishna appears, Spurti, a sudden appearance that then we actually perceive. I mean, even if there are different stages, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in Madhura Kadambini, that before the level of prema, when Krishna appears in his transcendental form and the devotee perceive that form with transcendental senses, you actually see, but that's not the actual form, but still you have some spurti, some vision of Krishna's form. Could be also in a dream or meditation. But in any case, the point is we have to meditate on the form within the mind by remembering these descriptions, or the form of a deity. That is so important. Actually, this is not only in the process of Bhakti Yoga that there is the meditation on form. Even those who are looking for the formless realization, like the Jnanis or even the Ashtanga yogis who want to come to the Nirvikalpa Samadhi without any form, anything. Still, in the process of doing it, they worship form. Like even in Chankara Sampradaya, the impersonalists, they are recommended to do upasana of the four, 5 forms, of course. Among them is Vishnu, but because how can you meditate on something formless? Can you meditate? Just imagine the formless. It's very, even with something which has a form, like geometrical form, the yantras which represent. Also, can you imagine how you worship and offer things like a food or flowers to a yantra or to formless? It's just so they worship even impersonalists, who consider, of course, these forms as temporary and non-real, but still they worship the forms to get to the formless. Of course, they are unfortunate because of their desire like that, but if they wanted, Krishna says, you want a formless? Okay, I have a formless form. That's one of my aspects. So, but you cannot move, you cannot actually practice sadhana, you cannot practice upasana without having any object. You have to have an object, you have to have a form. So it's very important, otherwise it's very difficult. Krishna says those who, in 12th chapter, those who are looking for attaining and practicing this, attaining the undescribable, formless, absolute, it's very difficult. Kleshadika, it's very difficult, right? The path is full of problems and difficulties. But those who are devotees, so easy. Krishna says, let's just think of me, my form. Krishna doesn't say think of it, right? Well, he says think of him, right? Who is that him? Paramapurusha, in 8th chapter. Mama he says, but also he says think of that Paramapurusha, that Supreme Lord. But Paramapurusha is a person also, the Supreme Person. So it's always a personal form. So it's very important that in our practice we also always keep the form of Krishna in our hearts. And in one way or another. That's why it's very essential that we hear about Krishna, so that description of his form and qualities, character, activities, they just they stick in our mind, in our memory. And we see the deity. Prabhupada says every day we should see Krishna, and by being attracted by Krishna's beauty, that will make an impression, Prabhupada says, for the whole day. When we see it and we look at the deity with devotion, then this impression we have to keep in the mind every day. Prabhupada literally says, and then we can remember, oh, Krishna was like this, and like that. His dhoti was like that. The color and details of the jewels, we can remember so many things. But many times we are we don't really notice, and then even after 1 hour we go outside the temple. What color was the deities dressed today? Well, I have to check online to get some help. So, but we have to pay attention so that we have the impression. But we're so fortunate. We have so wonderful deities, so beautiful, astounding beauty. But can you imagine just for a moment that there are no deities? Can you imagine what tomorrow we come from Mangalarati, the altar opens, and there's no one. It's just empty. Or maybe there is not even altar, just windows behind. How would you feel? Empty. It's like your life is gone. There's nothing, there's no center. There will be no meaning of us coming. It will be very strange, at least. I mean, because we are so accustomed, used to, because there is a relationship. Krishna reciprocates. Of course, we must desire that, otherwise it can become mechanical. We're just coming for a ritual. Then Krishna will reciprocate by manifesting like a statue. Once I was making pictures of the deities, and then there were different photographers coming to make some projects. But I remember actually, that there was some professional Then Mataji was telling me that for the magazine, you call professional photographer to make the picture so that it really looks nice. And then the picture looked really strange. You know, they didn't look like Radha Gopinath. I mean, they look like, but something is missing. And it was interesting because the different pictures, they actually, depends who makes the pictures. It seems. I mean, that's the practical experience. And then it was confirmed by one student of photography making pictures here because they come so colorful. We'll make our project in this castle, which they have all these colorful things and they dress in an interesting way. So I was telling, can you give me some hints how to make good portrait photography? So the student said, oh, the most important for portrait photography is the relationship between the one who makes the pictures and the one being made the photography of. I said, really? This sounds very esoteric. You know, I thought it would be, you know, the light and the angle and the camera you have. No. These are all details. It's the relationship. I was like, wait, is that the philosophy? Yes, yeah, this is it. It's standard. You know, the best photographers, they really have something, you know, with the object, and then there's some reciprocation, and then the picture is the portrait. They capture the moment and the expression and the mood. And I was telling, oh, that's why I know it's so different who makes the picture of the deities. And the student was, what? But they're not alive. You know, what kind of? I said, oh, they're more alive than us. You know, so there is definitely a reciprocation there. And if there is a reciprocation, the pictures are very different. If there is not. Anyway, so we are very fortunate to have deities that Prabhupada gave us, and then he, in so many places, he emphasized that especially for sadhakas, for devotees like us, the process of deity worship is so important because it engages our senses. This is the whole point, like the kings illustrate here. You know, our senses become completely absorbed. Otherwise, if we don't absorb, you know, Krishna's form, we will be absorbed in something else, in some Maya form. That's why, you know, that's the problem with sense gratification. Especially that sense gratification which is pious, that may not be sinful, but still that's a problem because you become absorbed in sensual objects, in external temporary objects, and then you continue to be absorbed. You know, you get another body and another body to fulfill your desires because of absorption. But, you know, the reverse process is our senses should be absorbed in Krishna. Completely. All the senses. We see Krishna, we think of Krishna, we remember Krishna, we touch Krishna as the deity, we smell Krishna, we taste Krishna as prasadam, and like that. All the senses are engaged in this. And then Krishna manifests actually as being Hrishikesha. That's what they say. You are Hrishikesha. They call him like that, the kings. And then the reciprocation becomes very sweet. Krishna manifests in the different senses, gradually. But even in the beginning we experience something different. Oh, this is something very different. It's nothing to do with the sensual pleasure. It's just sensual pleasure is very pale, very just insignificant. Compared to the experience when the senses come in contact with Krishna. And when they really awaken, and when you have spiritual senses, then you are so overwhelmed, you actually faint. That's the description of the level of Prema Bhakti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says when Krishna gradually appears to each sense. First was, I think, the hearing. You hear his ankle bells, or flute, or his voice, and then you faint. It's so sweet, the sound of his flute. And then you see him, his form, his enchanting form, and then you faint. Because it's so beautiful. And we heard Bhagavatamrita, Kumar, when he sees Krishna, when he goes in Goloka Vrindavan, and then he, again, similar things. He first hears some laughing and mooing of the cows and some running and the flute, and then he sees from a distance they are coming Krishna with the cowboys, and then when he sees Krishna, he just faints. Actually, he sees how Krishna is running towards him, and he faints, and then Krishna picks him up and embraces him, and that's what Krishna Chakravarti. Then devotee experience, he smells with the sense of, he smells the beautiful, wonderful aroma of Krishna, which is similar to a few substances they mentioned in Shastra.
Blue lotus.
It's a mixture.
Mixed.
Aguru, it's a root. What else? No.
Blue lotus.
Nothing. No.
Sandal.
Musk.
Musk.
Kasturi. So these are first aguru and kasturi. And then you can have also camphor or sandal and some different types. So it's actually, the acharyas explain the hands of Krishna have, I think they were, I forgot. Different parts have a specific expression of different aromas, but it's very amazing. So the devotee feels the aroma and fades, and then actually touches Krishna. Krishna embraces the devotee according to the rasa. So it's so wonderful. And how can somebody ever want something else? You know, some formless, absolute. I want to become the Supreme. And it's very unfortunate. But that's what some people want. The only chance for them is to have association with devotees who actually tell them, or they see, like this example in Javankarma, that's how it starts, of someone who is very learned, but he's just living in Varanasi. It's the place of the personalists. And, all meditating all day, studying, speculating in the mind, Vedanta. And he just sees someone walking and dancing and singing and just experiencing these ecstatic symptoms. And just by seeing that my body, he felt such an incomparable ecstasy. He's like, what is this? Nothing compares with any of my realizations. So he tries to find out, but that devotee disappears. I mean, that person, he doesn't know who that is. So he asks around, and then the other said, well, that must be a Vaishnava. Most probably a devotee of a Gaudiya Vaishnava. So you can find these Vaishnavas there, since the time of Chaitanya, who was also in this place, and he was also dancing and chanting, expressing these symptoms of love. So you can find them in Navadvip. So he was so attracted by seeing a Vaishnava. So he went there, he found the devotees, and he surrendered, and he got initiated very quickly. Of course, he started chanting 200,000 rounds and 200,000 names. So, very quick realization and transformation. But it's possible by the mercy of the devotee. So, to conclude, we are so fortunate to have this wonderful chance to meditate on Krishna's form by hearing about him, by seeing his deity form, by serving the deity, and by chanting the holy name, which also is immediately invokes a form. It's a sound form, but when Prabhupada says, just like yesterday it was quoted, just hear and nothing else. So, but Prabhupada also said, just hear, but we chant. This is in relation, what do we do with the mind? Well, focus the mind on the sound, on the hearing, but also chant with a specific mood. And what is the mood? Prabhupada encourages us to chant. Okay, this is one example.
Is a baby crying?
Baby crying. It's a cry. It's an address. Okay, this is a very unique mantra. Hare Krishna, it's invocative case, it's actually a personal address. You address someone by the name. So when you tell someone's name, you're very, especially when you call and you beg, you cry and you ask for something, right? Prabhupada says, please engage me in service. So when I say, Ekachakra Prabhu, please give me service, please. I don't say, please give. It just doesn't work if I do it mechanically. So just hear, but by this hearing means when I hear the name, immediately I remember the person I'm calling, right? So that's why it says the nama opens everything else. The form comes immediately because you remember the person you're addressing. And then the qualities and activities, they naturally are all within the name. And so when we are chanting, also we have to remember that wonderful form of Krishna and not do it mechanically. Because then Krishna will not appear. Just like if you are calling somebody but not really, and asking please, please, but there is no actual feeling and desire, you will not get a response. So in all our services, we should do it with great attention. And Robert, I really liked the other day when we heard the way he translated Avyapichari, so we can transcend the modes and come to the transcend level by doing bhakti, devotion, which is Avyapichari, which means literally uninterrupted. The Prabhupada says, staunch, devoted attention. Staunch, devote attention. That's Avyapichari. So, it means we put our heart when we chant, we really call a person. Please, please engage me, please don't reject me, please be kind. And when we serve the deity also, we offer, we just say, I'm insignificant, like Prabhupada said in this famous lecture when installing deities in Los Angeles, telling the story of Sanatana Goswami when he was talking with Mahendra. Mahendra was like, give me some salt at least with this small, dry dough you give me, So Sanatana Goswami, my Lord, I'm just a beggar, whatever you give me, I give you. And Prabhupada says, so that should be our mood. We should be very, very attentive, careful. We are dealing with Krishna, and we should say, Krishna, I'm so fallen and rotten, but please take it. And Prabhupada started crying. So this should be our mood. Thank you. Any questions or reflections? Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for your explanation. I just went to the beginning of your lecture, where this you said that this demon was collecting human beings for the sacrifice. And then I heard the description of actually how he was mistreating his sacrifice objects, like in the story of when this king was sacrificed to Durga, but he was missing one finger, so that the sacrifice was rejected. Because you have to make a complete sacrifice of Durga, but this king were being so miserable and so actually how would Durga accept such a sacrifice?
Yeah, well, I mean, the detail here is the completeness means the body should have it all parts. Okay, that's about it. So you should have somebody. This is the story also of what the prophet says. There's the story of the king and his advisor, and his advisor was always saying, whatever happens is by Krishna's mercy. It's right, and it's for good. And then he was like always saying this. And then once he was in a hunting expedition. What happened actually? His finger was cut in this.
Oh, the king actually made it happen, right?
But why he imprisoned the
Because he said it's Krishna. He cut his finger.
Okay, he cut his finger.
And then
Right.
this
And it's Krishna's mercy. Then he was angry. He put him in jail. So he went out in the expedition. And so he was captured by some dacoits, and they thought, well, now we'll offer you nice presentation, the king's body. But just before they saw, something is problematic, the body is not very nice. He was really severely cut. They rejected. So he was saved. So he went back and really Then his advisor, he said, look, wow, you're really right. That was really, if I had not cut my finger, and that wasn't Krishna's mercy, I would be sacrificed, I wouldn't be alive. They said, you see, that's Krishna's mercy. But I cannot understand something why you are in jail. Because he also said, you put me in jail, that's also Krishna's mercy. He said, because if I was with you, I would be sacrificed. Yeah, so it has to be, the body has to be clean and nice. So, he was keeping them neglected, but before the sacrifice, he would have bathed them and anointed them with some oil, just like they did with Jadabara. They had a victim, a human victim, and usually it's called, Prabhupada explains there, Narapashu, something like that, a human animal, or somebody who is really not very intelligent. That's Prabhupada translates. But that person escaped. So they were really panicking, we need someone else. So they found Jada Bharat, who was during the night, who was just guarding a field. So they caught him and, he has a really nice body, everything is good. So they bathed him, they put his nice clothes, anointed him, made the arati, and they were preparing this nice sword or chopper. And then just before offering and saying some mantras, whatever, Kali, she couldn't tolerate this. So she burst out of the deity and just took the same chopper, cut all the heads of them. With her companions, they started playing football with their heads. Kind of very gross, but that's the fierce form. I'm like, how can this be? But that's the fierce form, it's actually the same description of ghastly and horrible. What Arjuna says in Krishna's universal form. These are the same words that are expressed there. Kali, very gruesome, fearful. So that's the description of Kali, very fierce form. And because we have to be fierce to kill the demons.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Just one, you invited us to do some meditation and pastime in Krishna's form. So in the beginning it was said that all the 20,800 kings, they received nice garlands. So when I meditate on that, it must, ask Bhagavati for Prabhupada's Vyasa Pujas, he makes 45 garlands or something. And it's like a whole yajna, the whole day prior to that, so many devotees making up. So I'm just meditating on 20,800 garlands, they must have been remade to garland them, and then, sometimes I get a little bit lost in those figures. And, who prepared them? There must be a whole...
I don't think that's a problem. If he had a place, what was the place? Whatever, he must have kept them, and there would be so many servants. Jasmine had, so no problem. His son was ordered 20,000 garlands, immediately 20,000 servants, each making garland, ready in 5 minutes, something like that. But more difficult to imagine how they spoke with Krishna, because the verse here says, Raja, Yuchu, they all spoke to him. How they, can you imagine 20,000 people speaking and seeing it simultaneously, Krishna all together? Are they in a circle? So when we start thinking of the details, how exactly they all see Krishna simultaneously, it's a little inconceivable how they are speaking to him and seeing his form.
Maybe it's from the heart and all of the prayers, but
Yeah.
most of the time, specifically, they choose one spokesman.
Maybe one spoke on their behalf, but how they saw, one person, you have 20,001. How these 20,000 see one person? Okay, maybe nowadays you have a stadium of 20,000, and in the air there is one football, player, and the best player, and everybody is screaming there his name. Yes, Jai. So they see him. I don't know if that was the arrangement, but there's an arrangement always.
So many elephants and so many servants, it's like amazing.
But That's nothing actually when we read the previous chapters when Krishna went to Indraprastha, when he was coming before he went to Java. He came with the whole family. Whole family. Hundreds of thousands. And how they were, accommodated in the past. Royal reception, royal accommodation, how they were fed. Yeah, difficult to imagine, but different scales. It's all, this when you look at this, if you say, then we have to analyze it in terms of academic detail. No, we have to just accept Achintya Shakti, Krishna, and especially because he's manifesting his Dhamma, which is beyond time and space. We can't calculate, how exactly, they fit in the space of Dvaraka. How big is that? Just Ugrasena's personal bodyguards were in the trillions. What? How many billion? 8 billion now? 8 billion in the whole planet, but just in one city, his personal bodyguards are some trillions. So we have to accept that Dham is unlimited in space, not restricted in time and space. So it's just Achintya Shakti. By that, everything is possible. And everyone is there, just one city and unlimited palaces. And everybody is reciprocated with Krishna, with love. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavatam ki jai.
Yeah. Probably I missed something. Why is Krishna?
Why?
Yeah.
I sent you a message.
About
the sound.
You gave me a
Live sound.
I gave what Prabhupada explains.
Yeah,
That's a description of the Shastra.
And also,
Okay.
But the reason is like, you can't say, Shama also is the because each color has a specific mood. So Shama is the color
yeah, they just ship.
conjugal
People
emotion
have bought it.
of love.
You know, it's like the main.
So vice versa.
Yeah, that's why they make them.
Go
Yeah.
Mike is also
That's why you don't buy it.
That I don't think.
And how do I?